Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, October 9th, 2025, and this is the Arts and Culture Board meeting, the best meeting in all of Littleton to attend.
Accurate.
I've learned this after going to other meetings.
What other meeting?
Are we more fun?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
And it's really not all that close either.
What?
It's really not all that close either. We're way.
Way. Yeah, we're not just looking at spreadsheets for 4 hours, yeah.
We have a relatively short agenda, but there's some meat in there, which we'll get to dig into. And the first thing we'll look to is a city council liaisons report. Our city council liaison is not here. He is at a forum this evening for candidates, so he sends his apologies, but he will join us again next month. That takes us to the director's reports.
We had a very good crowd. Yeah, we'll arm wrestle next time. We had a very good craft fair this past Saturday. 16,105 of our closest friends and neighbors were there. Joni sold everything she
Everything I
made.
made, everything.
For reals?
No, not quite.
Oh.
Okay. No, I brought out 6 giant bowls. I usually sell 1. I sold 5.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of went, really?
That's great.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. People were just in the mood. It was
And that's,
awesome.
and that's what I heard from all the vendors that on the side of the fair that I judged. Very good, successful for the vendors, tremendous crowd, and the weather was mostly good right up until it wasn't. So this Saturday we'll have Harvest Festival, 73, kind of cloudy, but this rain's supposed to hold off until late afternoon. So come on out, get the best pumpkin in Littleton, and then go over to Pride. Or vice versa.
You might want to go pick your pumpkin first.
They do go.
Board of Operations. For library, our elevator service was restored
Yay!
September 18th.
I think we call it a night.
Mic drop. We were white knuckling it a bit because we were coming up on a very busy Saturday with lots of high demand and high attendance events. One of which was the Legendary Ladies, which is an annual favorite. Fills out the meeting room every time we have it, and thankfully we did not have to cancel. It was looking pretty close. That was on the 27th. That morning, we also hosted a connection with council event with 2 of our current council members, which again would have had to have been relocated or canceled, unfortunately. So we're grateful for that. So 2 really high profile events and a couple since then that we're glad that we are able to have back home in the library meeting room. So grateful for that. We are also engaged heavily in outreach this fall. We're showing up at several public events across the community. Earlier in the month of September, we had the privilege of closing the building to host a library staff development day. The early part of which really went to a lot of sort of reestablishing connections among our team. It's many folks may not realize how large the library team is. We have about 36 to 37 permanent staff and a pool of about 20 temp and substitute staff. So it's pushing 60 people. And just by nature, we don't all get to see each other all the time. We have folks on our team, we have combinations of folks on our team who never work with each other. So they would never see each other if it were not for a staff development day. So we were grateful for the support of our community to be able to close to take advantage of that opportunity. We took the afternoon to go out and join some of our partner organizations in service or back of house projects. We spent some time working with Hat Force, prepping meals for the upcoming winter season. We spent time with Dirt Coffee, helping them get ready to relocate. Some time helping South Suburban tidy up some of their public spaces. The records office over at City Center benefited from some of our help too. I'm forgetting a couple other partners, but it was sort of out getting to know some of our partners in community service out in the community by helping them with their work, which is really fruitful and really rewarding for our staff as well. So all in all, a good time had by all. Lastly, this week we are observing Banned Books Week, which of course means we're banning all the books. No, we're celebrating intellectual. I know. We're celebrating intellectual freedom by raising awareness of the prevalence and impacts of book challenges. If you have not already, and some of us already have, you can stop by the library to have a blind date with the banned book. You might be surprised why it's been challenged. So, yes, celebrating intellectual freedom and raising awareness of such this week.
My roommate went and checked out a banned book and was very excited about what's happening.
Very good. Well, thank you both. The next thing on the agenda is public comment. I don't see anyone here from the public, but perhaps they're out in the hall? No?
Nobody
We will
understands
move.
how fun we are.
We will move right along then to our presentation. And am I introing or
If you want to.
I don't need to.
Oh.
I mean,
Well, we're thrilled to have, and this is my colleagues, Jessica Bixman, our still relatively new, communications, marketing and events, director, and Alexander Van Poel, who is, senior events and marketing manager.
Yes.
Excellent. Everybody, I didn't mean for there to be a. I was trying to remember if I got everything from both of you. Thank you. But, you know, one of the things that Jessica's been talking about since she got here, kind of her vision for marketing tourism here in Littleton and a variety of things that I think are going to be really applicable to what the Arts and Culture Board does. And of course, we have tier 3 and the lodger's tax, which goes towards tourism marketing. So that has usually been funneled through Jessica's department. So we're thrilled to have them here. I know we've got a fun presentation ahead of us.
Yes, I'm gonna share it here in just a second. Trying to figure out how to share it so that you guys can see my slides, but we can see our notes. Unless Jessica knows. When I do it on Zoom, you can see the notes.
We want them to be able to see it there too.
Yes. Sorry, give me 1 second. And it's just in Zoom and I'm no longer in Zoom. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, here you go. I can read it out loud to you again too. So here's the website. And then the meeting date is 979-1130-9086.
Dennis, will you take a second and tell us what event was on the 27th that was so wonderful?
Which one?
The women.
Oh,
ladies.
Legendary Ladies.
Tell us about that.
Yes, if you have not experienced them, they are quite a show. It's an organization of, I'll call them historical reenactors. They, in costume and in persona, they present sort of the biological histories of key women from history in character. And usually when we engage them, it's a group of about 5 or 6 of them. So you'd get sort of a parade of notable women of history retold from the first person perspective. Really well loved. I mentioned it, it typically fills out the meeting room and often spills over a standing room into the gallery. It's become a feature, a fixture of our program calendar every year.
What women did they represent?
You had to ask. I forget, but they're worth seeing every single time. And it is a different roster. It's a different roster of characters every time. They have a whole repertoire of characters that they portray.
Is it annually?
And we're roughly annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see here. Look at it on her.
It's them and the Smithsonian Handbell Ensemble. Those are probably our 2 biggest faves in terms of audience attendance.
Just keep in mind, this is all being recorded, the screen included right now. Just, I don't want you to forget that.
Okay.
So keep the cursing to a minimum.
No, I'm just whatever on her screen as she's going through her files and things.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
I got nothing fun on here.
Okay. Work computers.
Okay. So I'm going to give you this link. Okay. You can just take that from me.
Hey, Tim, I had a question.
Yeah.
What did attendance look like this year versus years past? You've been tracking that?
So, yeah, for craft fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were down about 1,100 from last year. Last year we were a little over 17,000. This year we were 16,105. And I think that is because kind of mid-late afternoon, we got that wind that rolled in. So I think that probably curtailed some shopping a little bit early. But I'm always happy with when you get above 15,000. That's been a really good.
That's right.
Good.
What do you expect at the Harvest Festival?
Weather's good. We've had as many as 12. Kind of standard is probably 10.
Individual,
It's,
12,000 people,
what's that?
12,000 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a steady crowd pretty much from the time we open at 10 o'clock. And yeah, we've even got people coming in right with the event itself technically ends at 3 o'clock. We're open till 5. So we still have people rolling in, we're till 3. Can we still get a hayride? No, but you can get a pumpkin. So
But really
it's always a fun event, and it's my favorite event to do here. It's by far our most diverse event. It really brings a audience in all over the metro area and kind of surrounding 1 mile radius. So it's a good introduction to Littleton for a lot of people who don't get here otherwise.
Oh, nice.
Carving, because they're so little, you can't really put a face on them.
Do you have to get tickets ahead of
Okay.
time for
I'm
that?
gonna stop.
Not for Harvest Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, Holidays Eve is the only event
Yeah.
that have that's ticketed.
That's awesome. That sounds really fun.
They, got like big wine, but mine was where it gets flat, and where it gets flat, they always like have.
Okay.
That's like
Yeah.
a perfect example.
Oh, I love
Carve
those.
face.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
those are really cool.
It tastes really good.
Oh, nice.
They don't have much.
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah.
Woo! Sorry, apologies, technology is always different room, different settings. I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm Jessica Bixman, the new Director of Communications. I just finished my 6th month at the city, so. Yay! Yeah, so still fairly new. But for those that don't know, my career really started in festivals and events, and so that, just events, culture, art, like that is my jam. So I'm really excited to be here, really passionate about it. And we're really fortunate to have Visit Littleton, a part of our communications department. And so we're gonna, I'll let Alexandra introduce herself as well. But we're just gonna go through kind of the things that we learned, that I've learned in my short time here. And Alexandra is fairly new to the city as well. So excited to talk about Visit Littleton tonight. So Alexandra, do you want to?
Sure. I'm Alexandra, and I think I know almost everyone in this room if we haven't met. I am the Senior Events and Marketing Manager for the city. In addition to managing Visit Littleton, I also manage the big events for the city, like the Candlelight Walk, the Criterium, the Little Jams, as well as many other fun things that I've taken on in the little over a year that I've been here. So I'm excited to talk about all the fun things we've been doing with Visit Littleton.
All right, so what is a DMO? We call Visit Littleton a DMO a lot, Destination Marketing Organization. So a DMO is really an entity that's responsible for the promotion and managing of tourism in a specific city, region, or destination. We focus on marketing the destination to visitors, also supporting local businesses to enhance the overall visitor experience. A typical structure of a DMO includes professionals in many areas. Marketing, for example, sales, sponsorship sales, partnerships, visitor services and experiences. A lot of DMOs have their own event coordination staff. But they all work together to attract visitors, support local businesses, and to, of course, strengthen that destination's brand. So Littleton's really fortunate to have a successful municipal DMO that can promote all of the incredible creativity and talent that's local that makes Littleton so special and adds to our character. What we've seen in kind of the surrounding cities, a lot of cities that we benchmark ourselves against, such as like Inglewood, Greenwood Village, Lone Tree, Highlands Ranch, Centennial, Sheridan, do not have a DMO. And so they rely on the South Metro Denver Chamber of Commerce for a lot of their marketing and tourism support. So we are indeed very fortunate that Littleton has its own. So I just wanted to touch on the difference between what an independent DMO looks like versus a municipal DMO. So a municipal DMO is part of the city government, and the structure is a department or division within the city, usually under whatever department. In our case, of course, it's communications. And the funding primarily comes from the city's general fund, lodging taxes, or other municipal revenue streams. They report directly to city officials or city council, and staff are employees within the government HR pay scales and processes. Versus an independent or nonprofit DMO, which can be a nonprofit or quasi-governmental entity that has its own board of directors. And funding is usually from a mix of lodging taxes, membership fees, sponsorships, grants, and city contracts. And that's usually overseen by a board. Usually includes a lot of the stakeholders within the community, such as businesses and community leaders, versus reporting to city management or city council. So here's just some examples. I came from the city of Aurora. So the city of Aurora and Visit Aurora is an example of an independent nonprofit DMO. And all honesty, most of my experience has been with independent nonprofit DMOs who function very differently. So what's the history of Visit Littleton? It was introduced by the previous director of communications in 2023 as a way to promote local businesses and events, and then became a marketing arm for the city of Littleton. Our main channels of communication are really visitlittleton.org and social media, which both are fairly new. I mean, launched in May of 2024. And then mainly funded by the lodgers tax funds, the grant that we receive. Our mission, vision, and goals are to serve the city's tourism and marketing arm in collaboration with our city partners, businesses, to drive tourism, to strengthen and promote the vibrant arts and cultural community, and serving as a facilitator for partnerships and marketing opportunities, to connect local businesses, events, and experiences with people who want to discover them. And we want to be the #1 resource for both locals and visitors. The Visit Littleton website serves as the marketing platform for businesses and events. And Alexandra is going to take over some of these slides just to share kind of what has been happening as far as managing and promoting the tourism brand.
Thank you. All right. So when I started with the city the end of last August, I was super excited to take over Visit Littleton. It is like marketing the city is very easy. There's so much creativity, talent, partnership, community. There's always something cool happening. So I was very excited to take it over. My methods that I'm going to show you here are all about partnership, working collaboratively, because it's more than just one person that's going to bring tourism, sales revenue, lodgers tax to Littleton. And so some of those events that I wanted to highlight, I'm going to do it in different categories. So this first slide, I wanted to highlight some ways that we've marketed Visit Littleton through the cool things that are happening. I can go through them all, but with just time, I'm just going to go through a few of them on what I've done with some of these. And if any of them stand out to you, just let me know. If you want more details about it, I'm happy to share. The first one is the dinosaur exhibit. And Anna, if you are able to, can you click on that link? I hyperlinked it. Oh man.
I mean, I could. Would you like me
If
to?
you're allowed to.
I assume so.
Okay.
I don't know if this will work or not.
While you're doing it, I'll talk about it. So I was really excited to promote the dinosaur exhibit. If you just go to Google and visit Littleton Instagram,
Sure.
it should let you just go through. You just have to find it. But I was really excited to promote the dinosaur exhibit. I heard about it kind of when it was just about to open. And my colleague Matt shared it with me. And I was like, that's so cool. I want to check it out. And I came here and Jenny gave me a quick tour of the exhibit before it was about to open. And she shared some really cool facts. It was the first of its kind for the museum, for Littleton, to have a dinosaur exhibit of this magnitude. And so that combined with dinosaurs just like sparked so much in me. And I thought we can really get more people to come to Littleton through this exhibit. And I asked like, what do you guys do for marketing? And she shared like some of the marketing things that were being done, but I was like, I can help and really just like shout it from the rooftops. So I reached out to DMNS because they have a permanent dinosaur exhibit. And I worked with their social media person. I was like, hey, we have a museum in Littleton. We've got a traveling touchable dinosaur exhibit. You guys have a permanent one. Is there any way we can cross promote each other? And just sort of, you know, show the dinosaur love, really. And so that was a first for us to do something like that. I also reached out to the businesses in Littleton that I already had built a partnership with. Juniper Seed, Grand Station, Sincali, NT, Frankie Brothers. And I was like, hey guys, this is coming to town. Do you want to do some sort of cool dinosaur promo? That we can just kind of create this dinosaur momentum to drive people here. And the rails aren't working. That's okay. I wanted to
try
show
one more thing.
It's okay. The reel I wanted to show was, we did a really cool reel that got, I saw the stats earlier today. It had like 2,700 views.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, not that one.
No.
It's a fun one that I made. It's like animated. It's cool. That's okay. But the stats that I wanted to show on that were, it had about 2,700 views. That's an organic post that had that kind of views. More than half of the people that viewed it were non-followers, which encouraged them to follow, to engage. It had like 55.4% engagement from non-followers. That's pretty cool for an organic post. And so that's why I was curious asking you, Tim, about like the foot traffic that you saw for that exhibit. And I know it's hard to compare apples to apples. But it was cool to see the like really good foot traffic that exhibit had in the short time that it was here. Could have just been because it was dinosaurs, could have been part due to the promotion, but I like to do those kinds of things in the capacity of, you know, time that I have.
And we did dig a little bit deeper in Alexander, and that was the best foot traffic we've had for a traveling exhibit since I've been here, so 27
cool.
years, so yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh,
it was a
that's good.
it was
Wow,
a really
that's
big number, yeah.
Honestly, dinosaurs, everyone loves dinosaurs. So I love doing stuff like that, and I think that was maybe a first of a partnership for us that I want to do more of.
I will say latte sipping pumpkins though are also.
Pumpkins. Yes, that's also a fun one. So I wanted to point out that one, and then just going through this list, you can see like, these are the variety of events, you know, within the arts and culture realm that I reached out to do something with. I wanted to help take their event to the next level. Their events naturally draw people here, and oftentimes managers of these events just don't have the knowledge or the capacity to really realize like their event is awesome. Like they're just so in it, you know? So I reached out to a lot of them to say like, let's take this up a notch. Like, let's talk more. So like Walk the Chalk, I reached out to Kelsey. I was a little late in the game. But I gave her a list of grants to apply for this year for funding next year to help her really make Walk the Chalk like a chalk arts festival. It has so much potential. So that's just an example of different things that I've done. Littleton Restaurant Week, this was the third year, I think. And first time we've done a paid reel for it. So we created a reel, I put money behind it, and I targeted neighborhoods in the Denver metro area for like a week and a half leading up to the event, and it got a ton of views. I did not memorize those stats, but I got a ton of views. I'm sorry that my link's not working. Farmers market I have on here because I really wanted to help grow the downtown Littleton Farmers Market, bring some attention to Aspen Grove. So we did some reels. Western Welcome Week, this was the first time in how many years that event has existed that they created a lodging and accommodations page. That was a great idea from Dennis. And I brought it to Cindy. Kathy created the page like that. I connected Cindy to our hotel partners to get a room block because they have so many tourists that come here. And they got it up. What I'd like to do with more time next year is really help connect the dots more for the people that come to that event and that page. I think there's so much more we can be doing with businesses, like a theme, and just get more people to like stay and spend money. So those are just a few of the events that I wanted to highlight. Any questions on any of them? I don't know if you can see them all. Yes.
What does LPR, LRP and LRO stand for?
Oh, great question. LRP is a Littleton Report print and LRO is a Littleton Report online. The print has a really high distribution of everybody in Littleton, and the LRO has a growing distribution list. I've like 20,000 maybe.
The report online. No, it is smaller. It only has 3,000 subscribers. And so if you are not subscribed, please do so. We are in the midst of changing our digital platform, the way that we send that newsletter out. And I think we'll see subscription rates really increase when we do that. We're also going to be changing the name. We have not announced that yet, but it's not the same material. And so that was one of my concerns, is that because we call it the Littleton Report online, but then we have a Littleton Report print, that there was this assumption that it was the same material being distributed each time. It is not. Because of the timing it takes us to get the printed newsletter out. The report online is really all the stuff that happens after the fact, after our print deadline. And so it's a great way to keep up with all of the things, because typically, it comes out every 2 weeks versus the report print, which is less frequent. So.
Any other questions on any of the events?
So I'm super competitive. So how do we compare to other municipalities in the area as far as the number of events that we have, number of followers, number of attendees, like Centennial, or
Yeah.
I don't know if Aurora's fair or Denver's fair, but
So I just looked at Inglewood's event deck for next
Okay.
year. They have a lot of events, a lot. From the theme that I'm seeing through all of them is that they're geared towards locals. They're great community events. What we have are events that attract people in and outside of the community. Inglewood, they don't have a DMO. They use their city page, so they're limited in what they can actually promote and do to support businesses. I live in Lone Tree. They also don't have a DMO. They have to use the city page, like very limited interaction and engagement on their page. So the fact that, I'm not gonna share this stat yet, I'm gonna share it on the next slide, but our stats went from like nothing to like crazy. So
how do we compare with Parker?
so we're like.
Do you mean like in the number of events we host, or you mean promote?
Like
Or
or visibility?
How many we host, visibility, social media following, and then actual physical
I see
attendance.
what you're
Like
saying.
I'm throwing out a ton of markers, but how do we become more competitive? Maybe that's a better question compared with our neighbors. Like, is there something strategic that
Like as
do
far
that
as,
we are doing?
I guess, in which category? So we're different in that, in my experience, community events are mostly coordinated by what I would consider the programming staff. So like, for example, museum events or library events, they're very community focused. In my background, all of the events both signature and community were all out of our Parks and Recreation Department, which the city of Littleton does not have. So we're very unique in that. And actually a lot of municipalities, I would say, don't even don't even produce their own events. They are simply hosts. And so we do that as well. Visit Littleton is different in that her position is a little bit different because she's supporting both city events, but also Visit Littleton events. And so sometimes it's hard to make that distinction between what should be considered a festival or event or what should be considered a community event. They're very different. So I guess that's a long way to say that I don't think that we can compare apples to apples because everybody does their events differently. Like I know, for example, you brought up Parker. Parker Chamber does a lot of events. They do a really popular wine walk downtown, and that's something Alexandra and I have talked about of like, what could that look like if we potentially wanted to do an event like that? But as you all know, events are logistically very difficult for a small staff. And Alexandra is a staff of one and currently already spending about 80% of her time just on events, aside from the extra wearing of pumpkin heads and real creations and all of that stuff too. So, and yeah, if we had a Parks and Rec department, I think we would see a ton more community events. That's obviously South Suburban, so it's a little bit different.
This may be getting ahead of your presentation. I'd like to get back to it. Is that something that you're looking at and exploring for the future?
Events,
Hosting versus presenting versus
Yes.
producing?
yes. Yep. Obviously, both Alexandra and I have a passion for events, but I also understand that you have to have the resources to be able to produce them well. And I want our events to serve a purpose. I don't want to just be doing events because we've always done them. They need to be, for example, if we're gonna do a big festival, it needs to serve the strategic purpose of driving, either the community to it or outside of the community to it, driving tourism, supporting arts and culture. It needs to align with our strategic plan. I also think that we're doing events that are great community spirit events. Those are worthwhile too. And so we want to be able to do those, but we have to have the resources to do it, and we've got to find capacity somewhere to be able to do those well. So definitely looking at the events holistically, what makes sense, what maybe we need to rethink. But all of that is a part of the strategy as we move forward.
Great questions. Would you be able to, is there something that we can, and we could talk about this at the end, but as an arts and culture board, what can we do to support you?
Yes.
Besides the grant, that just, yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
we
it's
will.
coming.
Yes.
Okay, there's a slide.
There's a slide on that. Okay, and then just expanding on other ways that we've been promoting Visit Littleton through business partnerships, stakeholders and engagements. I'll go through this list very quickly, but built partnerships with Woodspring, Staybridge, and the 2 Marriotts through the Criterium. Was able to connect with those managers who created a great discount for Criterium participants, but also open the doors for conversations to connect them with Affordable Arts Festival, Western Welcome Week. And now they're coming to this partners meeting, which we'll talk about here shortly. So those conversations have been started. I'm very excited about those. Advent Health Littleton, they were a great sponsor of Criterium. Their director of community engagement has great ideas for connecting tourism, sales tax revenue with their patients and families who stay here often. He's also coming to the partners meeting. He wants to be able to include a Welcome to Littleton magazine in their lobbies that we produce and they share, a flyer in every patient packet. He wants to connect with the 2 Marriotts on how they can work together to provide temporary, rooms for the NICU families. these are conversations that I'm helping them to facilitate. And I'm excited for that. I love connecting the dots and connecting people. Partners meeting that's coming up on October 30th. I've gathered key stakeholders within the city, those who have businesses or events that naturally drive tourism and marketing for the city, and bringing them all together in one room with a common goal of how do we work together? What is our messaging that's consistent in both advertising our events while driving lodging, driving shopping, dining. I find that there's a lot of events happening, but like that thinking, that mindset isn't happening. So that's a goal of this kickoff meeting that we're having. Connected with the director of marketing at Libby Bortz. She told me they have tons of residents and families who travel here, stay here. They don't know what to do, where to go, where to stay. The residents want something in print, and that was hopeful for me because I'm gonna be making that for her when I get back. So part of this here is I'm trying to convey is I'm always out there building those partnerships for Visit Littleton, for businesses, for the city. Like that mindset is always at the forefront of everything that I do. I will talk about the Office of Tourism on my next slide. Events. When I started with the city at the end of August last year, when I went to Visit Littleton's event page, there were 5 events. Now there's a lot. There could be more. It's just about me reminding people, getting the word out, people's capacity to be able to, fill out the form and add it. But that's free marketing for events and for businesses. So proud that our website serves as that resource for the little and big events and businesses. Again, collaborating with event managers to grow that awareness of how are we marketing their event, the city, lodging, and shopping and dining. Marketing, Visit Littleton and print and digital marketing. So this is where I want to talk quickly about the Colorado Office of Tourism. Last October, I was approached by a gal who actually, back up. Last October, I did a presentation at the South Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. And I met the executive director of the Colorado Office of Tourism, Tim Wolf. Great ideas. He gave me great ways to partner. I went back to the office. I went to colorado.com, saw a ton of cities listed on that website, except Littleton. We weren't even listed. So he connected me with the right people. We weren't listed. And then when I went in the search engine to type Littleton, I found a crazy outdated article that had really wrong information. So fix that. We're listed, as you can see, and then built a partnership with them that opened new doors for grant opportunities that funded a lot of the marketing we've done this year. So pretty proud of that. City Lifestyle Magazine, we're one of the investors that brought that magazine to Littleton. I was approached by a couple others, and this one really stood out in terms of their quality, their distribution list, their articles. It was like a nice ratio of ads to articles. And it's reaching people that live in Greater Littleton and don't get the LRO and the LRP. And we're reaching them with promoting events, Town Hall Art Center, cool things that are always happening in the city. This slide talks a little bit more about the grant that we received. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, it's not in full screen. I don't want to mess that up.
Oh, it's okay, you're good. This talks about the matching grant. So I applied for that grant through the Colorado Office of Tourism, and for I think $12,000, we received $25,000 worth of value. We received access to the state's marketing and ad agency that have resources that we can't afford. So that was a pretty cool grant. It was for summer. And so in that grant, they provided a variety of things, which I can talk through. It's a lot of their jargon and lingo. But really, it's a targeted way to reach an audience when they're about to plan their trip. If they're thinking of Colorado or just thinking of traveling, those algorithms are reaching them, targeting them with why to visit Littleton, articles about us, the banners about us, in a natural way that doesn't look like a paid ad. So that was really cool, and I will share that I just got the results of that. And they said Visit Littleton had an impressive click-through rate of 1.02% above industry benchmarks and delivered over 442,000 engagements across all tactics. We were featured in 3 shared emails that reached 500,000 subscribers each. At an open rate of 27.8% for the first one, 23.9% for the second email, and 30.9% for the third email. So really good open rates. And I think that was well worth a small investment of $12,000. We're also featured in the state's first ever field guide. It's like a mini booklet that's in the 10 welcome centers distributed throughout the state. I chose the Julesburg Welcome Center because that one had the most foot traffic to roll a 30-second video about why to visit Littleton year round. So that's pretty cool exposure. And that only cost me, I think, $4,000. Metrics. So this is the social media that I wanted to mention. When I started in August last year, we had 239 followers. This number is actually outdated. It's higher by like a couple hundred. So when I pulled this last week, it was 3,237 followers. That's what's that increase? That's like a crazy increase in over
We
a
don't do a
year.
lot of math here.
It's like a lot.
Oh, Dennis, sorry.
But what's really cool is that when I look at the stats, that increase is from organic posts. That's just the content that we're providing. That's content that we're provided with from the creative people in Littleton who are coming up with these events. We're just taking whatever they're doing, packaging it up in a cool reel and putting it out there. So I think that's a pretty cool stat. We do some paid reels. And then what I also started doing when I first started was we meet weekly now. We meet weekly. We talk about what we want to promote, time of the year, what events are happening. And that's the big reason why we're seeing this engagement is because we have a plan. We co-collaborate now. When I started, we weren't following any accounts on Instagram. I'm like, how are we supposed to let people know that we're here? We're not following anybody. So we follow a lot, we engage, we like posts, we share, we co-collab, and that number is just gonna keep continuing to grow. We also use social media to promote open rewards, which is that savings cashback program that economic development created. And in just between
JP's wife has like made a profit.
from like last year to this year, 30% increase. And that's because we push it and tie it to the holidays. We push it and tie it to Mother's Day. Like that Visit Littleton social media channel is doing wonders for visibility and for businesses and for just shopping here. I highlight there, it's probably a little too small to see, is some Placer AI data for Small Business Saturday. In 2023, we had 7,000 visitors in downtown Littleton. Last year, we had 10,600. We pushed that with the DDA, joined forces to push that out as far and wide as possible. Hopefully this year, that number will grow. The Visit Littleton website, an incredible resource and tool. We use part of our lodgers funds to pay for paid SEO, that's search engine optimization, and paid keyword search. So that means when anyone goes to Google and says, fun things to do Littleton, best bars Littleton, best restaurants Littleton. We will always come up first. And that paid search combined with all of our social media posts that link back to the website is why we've seen this huge increase in website traffic, comparing this time last year to now. I would say June had the biggest increase of 154%. That's pretty huge. I'll go through this quicker. Arts and culture grant at work. I just wanted to put this in here, the marketing plan that was in place before I started. Just to show you the comparison. You can see how the funds were used. They hired Explorer and they're an ad agency. They're known for buying big ads, the bus ads, the billboard ads, the paid ads, if you're, on Facebook or looking through like online travel magazine. Companies like those take a nice commission. And that's why they tell you, we're gonna do bus ads, we're gonna do this, because in their report, they're gonna tell you, you got 1 million impressions. That just means like in that time of when that ad was running, let's say the billboard, that Placer AI geofence, during that time that ad was running, counted 1 million cars, people that came through there. I don't really resonate with a billboard when I walk or drive by it. I don't know if you do. So I put this up here to show you the big difference. This is general ad marketing. If I had tons of cash to spend, I would use my extra cash for that. But because we're trying to like get results, I use my cash for more targeted, specific audiences that I know that I can reach. And I show the Placer AI data for the project downtown corridor. That's just what we call downtown in Placer AI. It shows you a steady decrease. Now, that doesn't mean that the ad agency caused the decrease. There's a lot of things that contribute to it. But for that kind of an investment, you would hope to see like something. So that was disappointing. And this is just a recap of everything that I just kind of went through with you, but this is showing you what I'm spending or what I've spent so far with the lodger's tax money. Miles Partnership and MMGY, those are the big ad agencies that come to us from the state through the grant. So that's the minimal investment that we made with them. The website, we have to pay to have it hosted, and that isn't super expensive, but it's not super cheap. $87.50 comes out of lodger's tax to just have the website and have it kept fresh. So like right now it's fall themed. Next month it'll be holiday themed. January will be wellness themed. So we pay for that. Bonneville Radio. We're doing more radio ads around the holidays and holiday shopping. We're also doing geo-targeted marketing around like Hudson Gardens, Denver Botanic Gardens in Chatfield, the hospital, so that when people go into those vicinities, when I'm running my fencing, their social media, whatever it is they're looking through, will pop up with a cool video about shopping Littleton for the holidays. We've got an in-kind partnership with Box 31. They're doing free ads for us for candlelight and for shopping Littleton during the holidays because we've built that partnership. And then we're gonna do a cool mailer to all the neighborhoods that surround the perimeter of Littleton that don't get our messaging, to invite them to come shop here for the holidays, come to the candlelight walk.
Before she leaves this slide, I just want to point out, because I gave a presentation at study session to council last month, and at one point I shared that, just the visit, there was a question about Visit Littleton, and I had shared that, half of the lodger's tax grant goes just to supporting the website. And I think that council was really surprised by that. They were taken aback, but between because we have to outsource it essentially, between the design and maintenance of the website itself, and then our cultivator who does our SEO management that Alexander spoke to, that is almost $50,000 spent just to keep the website fresh and up to date. So I just wanted to point that out. I know it seems like a lot of money, but realistically in the marketing world, it isn't, sadly.
This makes more sense now that it's broken out,
Yeah.
like before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of, yeah,
Without-
like totally, like 8,700, totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's remarkable, especially like print ads. Like if you look at, Alexandra was speaking about one page, a full spread, one page, full color ad in a magazine. Even if it doesn't have a great distribution, it's easily, I'd say $10,000, between $5,000 and $10,000. So when you think about it like that, and how you're trying to, spread, how far we're trying to spread this message, your money doesn't really go far. And so all that to say that just means that it's extra work for us, because a lot of what we do in our department is what I would say is grassroots marketing. There's a lot of in-kind partnerships. There's a lot of trade. There's a lot of like, you do this for us and we'll do this for you kind of thing. And all of that, honestly, is more work than just paying for an ad. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into the design. And we're fortunate that we have designers in-house that are in our department, creative services. And so they do help with some of the design aspects that we would normally have to pay somebody else to do for Visit Littleton and for some of our events. And so that isn't even factored into any of these dollars. And so that's like just additional cost that's covered somewhere else, but that is still supporting Visit Littleton that we haven't even quantified.
And my final tidbit before we go to the last slide is when I approached that ad agency this year and I gave them like what I was trying to accomplish, which I've done, and I asked them if they could do that instead of just buying bus ads and digital ads, they said the money I was giving them wouldn't even cover it. So like that just shows you how much it's a lot of work for the results that we want with the budget that we have.
Do you like the ad agencies that the state is using?
I do.
Okay.
They have way more access than the previous ad agency that we were contracting.
Kind of sounds like
Yeah.
that. That was a good score. Good job on this.
Thank you.
All right, so, thank you, Anna. So future opportunities and goals. Alexandra and I have had some really fun conversations. Both her and I are super excited about what could be, what haven't we done that we could do, and there's a lot on deck that we would like to get to. Specifically, we would really love, Alexandra mentioned, to have a welcome magazine, a magazine that people have that they want to keep on their coffee table, that we want to see, like she mentioned, in hotels, in hospitals, at event centers, really distributed all over the city. So we have a rough estimate there of what it would take just for us to be able to print 4,500 copies. Postcards and event mailers to the surrounding city neighborhoods 3 times a year. There's obviously a small cost associated with that. We've had a lot of chats about what the 250-150 campaign would look like this year for Visit Littleton. Really, we want to be able to highlight all of the other events and programming that's happening around the 250-150 and help them tie it to the theme and then help them promote. We're also trying to tie the theme into the events that we're already doing because we just don't have the capacity to reinvent the wheel or to add anything additional this year. So we're gonna essentially serve as the marketing agency for the 250-150 campaign. Then continue to work with our existing host events. Here's some of the examples of the events that are already existing. And then we've talked a little bit about visitor center pamphlets, what the cost would be to do that. And then we're also going to be taking advantage of some free marketing that we'll get from the Colorado Office of Tourism for being selected as a host city for the 250-150 anniversary. We applied for a grant for them to pay for a drone show, and we were awarded that drone show.
Yay.
Yeah, so that will be fun to celebrate next year. And then, identifying and pitching news and travel publications that continue to spotlight Littleton. But what are our challenges? I spoke to this already. Our biggest challenge is really just capacity. Alexandra is amazing, but she is only one person. And like I mentioned, that is very,
See the clone?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And she does between, criterium, meet, greet, meets, little jams, state of the city, our boards and commissions dinner. Alexandra is also our event coordinator. And as I mentioned previously, it is very unusual to have a one position only dedicated to this much work. Typical DMOs have sales staff, right? That they're going out and they're recruiting large scale event producers to bring their events to their cities. They're going out and selling sports tournaments that are going to bring attendees for major, softball tournaments and soccer tournaments. They're going to increase their hotel stays. They have marketing coordinators that are selling and, their ads. They have sponsorship salespeople that are going out and getting sponsorships. And so we're doing all of that plus events with one person. So it's pretty remarkable, all that she's been able to accomplish. But that means that we have to be really strategic in how we move forward. So how can the Arts and Culture Board support us? It would be great if we had a point person that could help us regularly provide us content. We can't be everywhere. We're a small staff. We really try to get to all the events and all the fun things happening, take photos, put them on social. But I am essentially going to all of the directors and all of the groups and begging them for content. Like, please, like, even if you're just driving and take a cool sunset photo, I love to get those. Anything that you're out at and you want to promote, please send it to us. So it would be great to just get in that habit, though. I think that we sometimes forget about it. We don't apply that lens to our work or to our events or to volunteer opportunities of like, wow, this would be a cool way to visit Littleton involved or the city involved. We will happily take that content. So again, just maybe a designated person that's willing to get kind of used to the way that we like to receive that information, whether it be a photo or a video, an interview even, so that we can play that up. And then also introduction to the recipients of the Arts and Culture Grant so that we can try to collaborate more with them and help them to partner with us so that they do get to take advantage of the free marketing that we can provide for them and also just that extra set of eyes to maybe provide them some ideas of ways that they could get the word out about what they're doing. And then the last thing is just a question application and kind of a way that we can make sure that whoever is getting awarded the grants knows how they can help us with our mission of, promoting our hotels and promoting our local restaurants and bars and shopping through their project or event. And we're happy to help with that. So any way that we could be connected would help us out a lot.
Yeah, that last one was another great idea, Dennis. When we first had that meeting, I don't know. But you were saying like it's a team effort. Like that to me translated as I love a team effort, but the recipients who are getting the awards from the lodgers tax funds, I think if they knew, like, okay, I've been awarded this, it comes from this fund, how can my event help drive awareness to the hotels? I think if they knew that, it was a rule or a guideline or something, it just helps me open up the conversation with them.
Well, and ultimately it helps them too, because anything we can do to increase hotel stays ramps up the amount we have coming in as lodgers tax revenue, which then in turn goes out into the communities. I mean, it's a win-win, I think.
It's trying to keep the positive feedback loop happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. Any questions? Sorry, that was a lot.
No, you had your hand up a couple times too.
I was just trying to go through them. How, if any, overlap or combination of efforts happens with the economic development? Because I'm hearing you talking a lot about partnerships and I'm not hearing that group in that discussion at all. And I feel like might be some.
There's a lot of overlap. I work very closely with Rachel, Brian, and Jamie. They're a big reason why I get to meet a lot of businesses or why I get to hear from businesses who aren't listed on the website or who are struggling and need a social media post. Or businesses that are coming to town. They're a huge reason why I've been able to connect with so many businesses and build those partnerships.
I think that's great. I said exactly what I wanted to hear, because I just want to, because like right now, just with our overall just strategic vision, I mean, the only way any of this stuff works is there's a lot of people doing the same stuff and trying to figure out how to like optimize those kind of efforts so that we get the flywheel spinning.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about. You know, self-admitted IT nerd during the day. So, you know, one of the things I've struggled with, especially is with marketing, is I know it's a layered approach. There's like all different splatter guns that you can look at of different things. How are you evaluating the value of each one of those tools? Because I kind of just feel like when I see, you know, it's this plus this plus this, like, how are we, if we used to break it down, how are we assured that we're getting, like, that's, I'm not questioning how you guys are doing this, but like, how are you evaluating, you know, Cultivator, which, you know, some of the brands that they use, it's a great organization. But some of their brands that they do work with are diamond plated, right? And then, you know, there's, you know, working with the city, and I only see a couple with Cultivator. I only see a couple of like visit organizations. So I'm not sure really how much effort or energy they put into that. And plus their dollar amount's much higher than anybody else. And I don't know if it's some of that diamond plating. It's just a question, like how you're evaluating the various either organizations. Most of that's outsourced, which I can completely understand. But then when it's tools, oh my God, I sometimes just, when it comes to data, I question, because they have to show that like for them to exist, for you to renew, they have to show that they're doing something. And I always question the data that comes back, especially from SEO organizations. I know it's a lot of words, but.
So Cultivator, I would say the majority of that cost is for paid SEO and paid keyword search.
So you can kind of understand like the state of SEO, at least to me. There's so much click farm shenanigans out there that I don't always buy the number of clicks that somebody is saying in the pass-through traffic and the impressions. It's just like, you know, I'm sure you're probably giving them a monthly, like, don't spend more than this on SEO because it will just run away, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not casting doubt, I'm just
I
hard.
cap that. I think with any firm that you hire to do paid SEO and paid search, you're gonna get the same report. What I like to see at the end of the day is I like to see, so Zimmerman, who hosts the website, they're also tracking that on their end. And what they're tracking usually aligns with the paid SEO reports that I get monthly from Cultivator. I also get a paid keyword search. Zimmerman is tracking the same exact data. They don't know about each other.
Yeah, that's
so-
what I was gonna say, you almost want a, you know, casual observer or so, you know, like a peer review. So to
Yeah,
speak.
and that's
I
just
think
part
you're
of
doing
their contract. So it's helpful for me to see both sides. And I will say it does track. I use that as a measuring tool. I use our engagement in social media posts as a measurement tool, the number of followers that we're getting. I also use surveys that I do with businesses. You know, what are the events that are happening that close down Main Street that work well for you, that don't work well for you? I use Placer AI data to see, like the dinosaur exhibit. well, not the dinosaur exhibit, Harvest Festival and, the craft fair. So what I did this year is I helped promote them in different online calendars that in the Denver metro area. And then we do posts around that. Once Harvest Festival happens this weekend, I can pull the Placer AI data and I want to compare it to attendees last year. Like, those are things that I use to see, like, are we getting more people? That doesn't mean it's solely because of our effort, but it means we're all doing something right together. And so I would say those are a lot of the benchmarks that I use.
I would also comment too, that we hear from the community. Like we'll do a reel or a post on social media from a small deli or a family restaurant. And they are so grateful and they will come back and say, we had an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for what you did. Like those comments are like, yes, we're doing, because to be honest, we're not gonna be able to compete with some of the bigger cities that are able to bring in huge, attractive, multi-week type events. We don't even have the venue for that. So in my mind, I'm thinking a lot about who's already here, who is in our community that we can support and share. We want people to think, even if they're in Greater Littleton, okay, we want to go to dinner tonight. Where does their brain go of like, where are they gonna spend their money? Where are they gonna go to dinner? Where are they gonna go shop? And so those are some of the most rewarding comments I think we get is when we hear that we intentionally, promoted something local to the community that it really worked for them. So we take those into account as well. Like when we intentionally have a plan, and then we get great feedback, people are grateful for the work that we're putting in.
So just as an example, I put in dive bars, Littleton, Colorado.
I'm shocked.
I know. I may have done the same search
Old Town Tavern.
in Traverse City, Michigan. But Lazy Greyhound comes up and Social
What?
Bar as dive bars.
I think it's probably just
I don't know
finding
if you've
cars.
done
But then Old Town Tavern and Ned Kelly's comes up. So we're good there. And then things to do in Littleton is what I typed in. And TripAdvisor came up first with its list. And it did Littleton Museum, as you would, 15 best
But
things
that's
to
a
do,
that's sponsored.
right? And I'm just saying, it, stuff came up, right? That's for real. Like, it didn't bring up Parker and it actually brought up Littleton and things that are here. So it's working, was my whole thing, my whole point.
Keely, I think you had.
Yeah, I actually gave a similar comment to some of the public works city staff in regards to events and like permitting and things like that. A checklist that you could give event hosts who are not the city, who are hosting events in the city, of like, make sure you submit your event to Visit Littleton. Here's some things that we would love for you to do. Here's some things that we can do for you. Like a contact for Littleton Merchant Association, like work with some way to like work with local businesses to do like to come together when you're closing down Main Street or something. I think it'd be really helpful to further like your third point about how this board can help. I think that would correlate with that because I think a lot of people just wouldn't even know.
Yeah, no, I love that one. When I meant we are working on a checklist.
Okay.
Visit Littleton is on there, but what you just said, like, how can you ways to partner with your neighbors or local businesses is a great addition to that list.
I have a question for you. I love hearing about all the traction that's local, but I want to take it back to the lodger's tax just for a minute, because ultimately, the more heads we have in beds, the greater revenue we're going to have for the lodger's tax. Working with the state of Colorado is great. There's also a lot of competition. We all want those dollars. What are we doing independently with Visit Littleton outside of Denver Metro, outside of Colorado, to get those dollars here. I see things from like visit Albuquerque, visit Cody, Wyoming, which is 4 hours away. Small towns, but they've got things to offer. We've got great things here too. It's the food, it's the culture that we're talking about, it's the events. So instead of maybe adding more events, how do we market those events that we have outside of Colorado or a little farther away to get those heads and beds, and we can increase our lodgers tax revenue?
That's a great question. That is part of, I think my fifth bullet's not up there. It was my fourth bullet. So, with the capacity, hopefully increased capacity, I'd like to work more with the existing events that we have that are already bringing people here on their marketing plan. Like I said earlier, the event managers are so in it. They're so in the weeds. They're not really, they're not thinking about how am I reaching more people. So that's where I come in. That's one of the things I'd like to do is work with them on reaching more people outside of the Denver metro area. It does cost a lot to market outside of the state. So you can see I'm pretty strategic down to the penny with what I spend. So marketing outside of the state, like paid ads, costs a lot, but there's grassroots ways that I can work with those event managers to reach beyond the Denver metro area. And that's one of my goals for next year.
Have you thought about partnering with some of those other cities, like the Visit Cody, Wyoming? Have you talked, maybe they could market us, you can market that. Like, have you thought about partnerships with other smaller municipalities that both might benefit from that?
I'd like to. I
know
certainly.
time is really difficult.
Yeah,
I
if,
get that.
again, it's down to that main challenge is the capacity, but I'd definitely like to. And the worst people can say is no. So I have no, no reservations about asking. But I love that idea. Cool.
Yeah, just a thought about AI with tourism. So like I just asked for like a 3-day visit to Littleton, what it would recommend. And so the first like just hit of results were kind of free sites like Wikipedia. Do you guys update that with Littleton? Like, I mean, does the city participate? I mean, those were the first couple hits were from Wikipedia. That's a free source, you know, that like ChatGPT is pulling from. But then also like if you do just like a, give me a 3-day trip to Littleton, I'm visiting family. So like some of these things are, it's like go to downtown Littleton Main Street, go to breakfast at Cafe Terracotta. It's really nice. Midday, go to Littleton Museum, go to Breckenridge Brewery. The first day is really good, but then it starts to get into like some other kind of like Roxborough State Park, which Roxborough is beautiful, it's 15 minutes, but like there are things that are a little bit closer. Or like go to the Columbine Memorial, like, I don't know, I think there's maybe free ways that you can start to populate.
Yeah, sources.
That's AI though. You're dealing with AI
Yeah,
and how it generates
but
information.
that's just by like getting stuff out there, like a
Yeah,
3-day trip to, like, if you just start putting articles in different sources, like here's
Yeah.
a 3-day trip, and then it would pull from those sources, like, I don't know.
I think I'm just giving it a little bit more credit than it's due right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it doesn't know anything about what we're trying to do.
Well, you
So
can
it's
look.
just triangulating
yeah.
a bunch of websites
Yeah,
that
it's
are
just
in this
pulling.
zip code that
You
may
can
or may
see the
not
sources
be.
first, if you're like, okay, what
It's
is
just
there
not.
to do in Littleton, and then before you ask for the trip, like.
Doesn't just
So,
latch on tap.
I guess, one of, I think that a lot of information that gets pulled from AI for Littleton is relying on the city website too. And the city website really does need a lot of work. And I will share that when I was interviewing for this position, I had a lot of trouble understanding as I was doing my research where Visit Littleton actually lived and how it was operating and who was in charge and all of those things, because it's not abundantly clear. And going through the city website, there's a link to Visit Littleton, but it doesn't really allow, that's all that it is. And so I do think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the website. Another tidbit is that the website does not live in the communications department either, which is very unique to me. It's a unique challenge that I'm not used to. And My team is actually going to be working with our IT department, but leading a website redesign for over the next year. And hopefully what that will do is address some of the design, but also user experience. And from there, we'll update some interior pages to get the ball rolling on starting to update the website and the internal pages that we need to really make improvements in the website. We've added some really cool AI functionality to the website, but it's only as good as the information that's on the website. And so if pages are outdated and they don't have the correct information, the AI tool can be as sophisticated as it possible, and it still isn't useful. So there is work to be done there.
Sorry, you're saying the regular Littleton website doesn't fall under the communications department?
Correct.
Where does it fall?
IT.
That makes all the sense in the world.
That's why I can't ever.
Anybody else have questions?
I still have a couple more, sorry. Have you guys thought about, like, I don't know that I've seen this, but like, and I know this is kind of keeping it, this is looking at like city assets and kind of like, you know, talking to yourself a little bit, but I mean, have you guys thought about any kind of like stickers, QR codes at doors, you know, those kinds of things? I just gotta, if they're there, I haven't seen them.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of the, okay. A lot of that falls under what I consider marketing advertising. And, so we do a lot of this for events, right? We do a lot of, so some unique things we did for Criterium were like, coasters in restaurants. But to your point, yes, we want to be doing as much as possible of that. But not just for Visit Littleton, for the city side of things too. And so that's another, you know, aspect that I shared with council was like, we are doing all of the communication things. We are doing the PIO things. We are, you know, sending out press releases and publishing a newsletter, but we haven't really even dipped our toes into what real marketing and advertising looks like, which is all the creative. It's the QR codes, it's the posters, it's the flyers, it's the fun stuff. And so that's a place that I'm gonna be working to take the whole team to in the future. But in order to get them there, I've gotta lay the foundation for them to be able to have more capacity, to be able to spend the time that it takes to get, you know, the digital created first, and then in all the different formats we need it to be, and then outsourced. But all kinds of fun things, decals, stickers, magnets, swag even, you know, we're working on some branded tents. We don't even, you know, it's very basic stuff that the team hasn't really had before. And then, you know, I came in and was like, okay, we've got the communications piece down, but the marketing piece is missing, and they have to work together. They have to work together to take us to the next level. So that's where we're headed. So all of that stuff, absolutely.
One of the things I just wanted to say is that we have a marketing department at the college. We have a commercial photography department. We have a graphic design department, and the college's mission is work-based learning. So I really think that, you know, we have so much content, and we have a commercial photographer who went out and shot downtown Littleton during the big table event. Like they are work for hire. They are interns, they are apprentices. So if you guys need content, we should set up a meeting.
I would love that. But I want to say that our manager of our TV producer, Tyler, I want to say he's already working with somebody at the college for videography. So I think he's started some of those
Mike Larimore.
conversations. Yeah.
He runs our commercial
Yeah.
photography program.
So he does have in the works, I think, some students that are gonna be helping with some video and reel and that kind of stuff. I think we're also working with LPS. We are working with some of the students at the Epic campus
Awesome.
to come and help do some fun reels. We're like, who better to do reels for us than some high school kids?
But
right?
also
Like,
graphic design, like we
Yeah,
have a studio
totally.
ACC that like our students are making product, like stickers, like all the creative stuff.
Cool.
We're at Art and Design Center right downtown, so you guys should really like tap into that. Our content is endless. So
That would be
yeah.
awesome.
So I don't know how you want us to receive the content, but I think like some kind of partnership that we can develop with interns and apprenticeships that can support you guys would
Mhm.
help.
That would be fabulous.
Yeah, and the college, that's
Yes.
our mission.
Thank you. Yes, that would be great.
So just a compliment, I saw Alexandra at the Criterium and she was working her earlobes off. Like she was working so hard. And I think I gave Jim and Mike and Kathleen, kudos to her, but I wanted to make sure that you got the message as well.
Oh, thank you.
Just how
Yeah.
hard your team was working for that event. It was crazy. Thank you for bringing this information. I was one of the most critical. I will admit, as I'm like, where is that $100,000 going? Like, seriously. You guys did such a good, in my opinion, at justifying that. And then please let me ask this question, but what?
What if I said no?
I do it anyway.
Let's see.
So, because we asked the question a long time ago about the public arts administrator, like what would it take? And we did it as a board, not having any hiring power whatsoever. But then we got Anna, and so how many people do you need, like, to work, like, how many people do you need in your department to be efficient, Like, do you need another 5, do you need 7?
So, I mean, I will just say that we are a very thin run team for the amount of work and the amount of content. And you know that the city is not slowing down, like there's just more and more and more.
Right.
I was very fortunate this year that council approved 2 new positions that will become a part of the communications team. I felt, thank you to my fellow directors here who supported, my ask. One was for a community engagement manager. This person will be dedicated solely to managing the partnerships that we have with the consultants hired to do our major projects. So some of them we have coming up, like the Littleton sub area plan, for example, transportation master plan that will be coming down the pipeline. Main Street downtown, that project that we're gonna be moving forward on. So this person will be the one person that's managing the community engagement moving forward. I think that the city really needs that. And then the other person is just a communications strategist that's specifically going to be supporting Public Works. The amount of work and projects that Public Works has is overwhelming to a staff of essentially 2 that are responsible for getting all of the notifications out for the entire city. Because the rest of the team is creative services, they're doing the graphic design, or Tyler's position, which is doing all the videographer, streaming all the meetings, YouTube, all of that stuff. So even with those 2 positions, we are still really small. Which is why on a Criterium Day, we're all event coordinators. Everybody has a role to play in an event like that. And it's not just our team. We had staff volunteers, Public Works is out there all day with us. We had lots of staff volunteers that came and set up tents and man booths and, obviously public safety, that's a heavy lift on them too. So those events are just everybody on, everybody,
on
yep,
deck,
essentially everybody in the city has to come together to make something that big work. So it's a big lift for us. And obviously, we're talking about what events look like moving forward and how do we do all of the things we want to do with what we have currently. So I don't know if that answers your question, but we're pretty lean.
Numbers.
So what numbers? Like if you got 1 or 2 more. So
It's not
our
even
grant
really a
money
question.
keeps going down and we all know that, but I'm still holding out hope that eventually our hotels are gonna start making more money, so then we get more money.
It
for the
has
grants.
ticked back up, Kate.
Okay.
We've actually got now like a
Um,
3-month string of it going back up, so.
I mean, literally, the public arts administrator position at one time was literally a pipe dream.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yep.
So,
For Visit Littleton, if you're asking, how do we want to see Visit Littleton grow? Like it does need, if the goal is to try to get large scale events here or to try to get conferences booked at hotels or to get large sporting events, then essentially you are going to need to resource it that way. So that's going to mean somebody that goes out and is probably commission based and is selling your city essentially.
Okay.
And so, but a lot of that is limited because we don't have venues to support those
I
things.
know.
And so that's another challenge. We don't have hotels that have the kind of meeting space we're talking about that are gonna bring large scale conferences, like versus where I came from in Aurora, you have the Gaylord, and so they're booking that hotel out years in advance, and they're selling we also had the Aurora Sports Park, so our Visit Littleton sales staff would go out and sell tournaments essentially to bring them here, and that contributes to their lodgers tax. And so we're just not set up that way. We're not resourced that way. But at the very least, Alexandra does need some event support. If she's going to be responsible for producing all of the events and doing all of Visit Littleton. We do have a part-time staff member who's amazing. Her name's Christy, and I've been able to keep her. Normally she just works for the season, but I found a way to keep her on full-time. Not full-time, sorry, part-time, but for the full year next year. And so she's going to be taking over a lot of the smaller event responsibilities, like with Little Jams, for example, and some of the smaller events that we do. She's going to help out. So that will hopefully give Alexandra a little bit more breathing room too, so that she can focus on some of the other Visit Littleton stuff. But yeah, I mean, marketing coordinators, event coordinators, sales staff, sponsorship staff, administrative staff, those are all things that we don't have with Visit Littleton, and half of those things don't even exist in our department, so.
Well, I have, I think, 4 things that I'd like to wrap up with. The first is, as it relates to partnerships, and you presented a great list for hotels and Western Welcome Week. I picked up a recent sports ice package for the South Suburban Ice Complex, and it directed me to all of Douglas County's finest hotels and not a single Littleton one. So there's another opportunity with South Suburban that I would love to see our hotels be featured in. 2 is I would ask that as the city and as your department looks at events, and particularly, frankly, if the future or fate of any events come into play, they certainly have relevance from a culture's perspective, the Arts and Culture Board. So I'd love to be consulted, involved, or otherwise a part of those conversations. If something is looking to be downplayed or reduced or not supported anymore, I think this whole board would have an interest in that. Number 3 is I would love to work with you perhaps through 26 and maybe leading into the 2027 budget cycle. But I think if, and our Arts and Culture Strategic Plan speaks a lot in a number of different areas about unified messaging. I think it calls for there's art here, and a unified marketing program, and a citywide programmatic themes for really branding Littleton, amongst other things, as a great art city. And I think that our grantees and the people that we work with would be very happy to take a prepackaged, art portfolio and do the fiscal lifting and promoting and putting that on their websites. But I think if we as a board could create that with your help over the next 12 to 18 months, that would be outstanding, so that we can have that unified Littleton arts brand.
I love that. Yeah.
And I recognize that's probably a financial and other resource lift that may not be feasible in 26, but I'd love to get us at least taxiing towards the runway for 27 and understanding what those costs look like and create that package. My last then question for you, and it's probably a longer answer that perhaps for the sake of everyone here could be truncated. You mentioned the difference between municipal versus independent or nonprofit DMOs, and your experience being with the nonprofit or independent side versus what we have here. And is there anything that you can elaborate on as far as the pros and cons of the model we have, and maybe the direction you would take it based on the con side of those things?
I mean, I think that when it's under the city, it's just limited in what we can do with it, right? There's limited resources, there's limited staff. There's a lot of times, you know, some of the events that she does, I wouldn't say they're supporting Visit Littleton. They're strictly city events. And so there's a little bit, it's not black and white. There's a little bit of a blurry line there. I think it also becomes a challenge sometimes for us when there is overlap that isn't clear with the events that we're promoting. I get a lot of requests to put events certain places and to promote them. And I have to say, no from the city, but yes from Visit Littleton. So there's just a lot, there's a lot of gray area there versus where like an independent or a nonprofit, they have way more flexibility than we do. They have way more resources than a lot of people, they are also better at getting sponsorships. A lot of people, it's hard to get sponsorships as a city entity because they're like, a lot of people are like, well, I'm already paying my taxes. I'm already doing this. Why am I gonna give the city a sponsorship? And so I think there's missed opportunities on the sponsorship side sometimes as a result of that. I think there's just a lot of layers. But essentially, you know, they're supported differently where there's a board of directors attached to them, that aren't city staff. And then there are hired staff again that have the resources to be able to go out and support versus having one FTE assigned to all of the marketing, sponsorship, event tasks. It's just really resource limited.
So is that an entity that will reach a tipping point where it should be broken away from the city?
I mean, I think that we need to have a lot of conversations moving forward about what it is that Visit Littleton's purpose is. What do we want it to be? You know, what do we want it to look like? Are we fine with it living in the city and being a website and social media page and just promoting community events and being more of that resource? Or do we want to see it grow and expand and become all of those other things? I think that internally that conversation needs to happen. We need to understand what the goal is moving forward, how we're going to get there if that is the goal. You know, having conversations with the venues that are out there that would give us that ability to bring in larger events. We just had a meeting last week with Hudson Gardens to see, you know, what is their appetite for bringing some of the larger events back. And, you know, having some of those conversations and meeting with hotels and seeing what are they doing or, you know, are they selling?
Can they provide a shuttle?
Can they provide XYZ? So I think, you know, there's just a lot of conversations that will need to be had about how we move this forward and what direction or what it looks like in the future.
Thank you very much. I think to Kate's point, this was, if nothing else, which it was many other things, incredibly helpful as we understand Tier 3 better and how it supports the city as well as the initiatives that are sort of under our umbrella. So thank you both very, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
all.
us.
Yes. And thank you, Anna, for your navigation of the.
Have a fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the next thing on our agenda then under old business is an update on city council's direction on the % for public art resolution and policy. That was before city council on Tuesday night for consideration as a resolution to adopt that policy. Keely was there, Denise was there, I was there, Tim is gone.
Tim's gone.
He was there, now he's not.
I wasn't there for this.
But he was in the captain's chair that night, and I'm proud to tell you, if you didn't watch or aren't aware, that city council has adopted the % for public art. What it does
That's so exciting.
is the dollars will start to be collected on January 1st of 2026. So we don't have anything to do until January 1st of 2027, other than think, dream, and plan. But what that means is that at the bare minimum, we will have $25,000 a year put towards public art. That is the sort of guaranteed minimum with this policy. If the % for public arts on its own does not produce that, then there's a commitment to bring it in from the general fund. So it is a great start.
It's amazing.
It is,
So
yeah.
exciting.
That's awesome.
And what it does, and what I think is really exciting, and one of the selling points to the council was, we are one of the very few cities now, especially cities of our size, that have a lodging tax dedicated towards arts, culture, and tourism. and a percent for art program dedicated towards the built environment and public art. That's wonderful. And that in and of itself is something we're talking about and hanging our hats on.
I mean, you really should. I met with one of the economic guys from Englewood. They don't have any of that. You know, so whatever they have up there that they're doing event wise, like I feel like there's like a solidarity to what's happening down here that it's great.
And we got it done a year ahead of when I'm speaking for Tim. He didn't think we'd get it done for another year. So congratulations. Thank you all for all of the work. Denise, anything to add?
It was a unanimous vote, which I
Nice.
think is huge. I think that's really important. It was not just an endorsement from a majority, but from all of them.
That's great.
Nice.
So I thought that was really cool. And there was a standing ovation, right? When they
There
approved
we
that.
See, it's so different
At
than the
least
time
one.
that you guys went and died on the sword.
Well, so go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious, is there like a public release on that and, or are they gonna wait until January 1? Or how does that work if it was approved?
That's a great question. They don't typically release most things but I think we should.
I think it should have a little marketing.
As the marketing people leave.
Yeah, exactly, right.
No,
I
that's a
think
good
you're
point. And I think
You're right.
we can, certainly we can celebrate it as we move towards,
Cause so many people don't go to
We
city
could.
council or watch the meetings and won't know like what we're approving. And I mean, I feel like they do a pretty good job of, sending blasts and emails and stuff and. Well, I mean, I'm saying like, I'm one of the people that gets the print and the, electronic version of the report. So I see things, but that seems.
I think you're right. I think this is important enough to get the marketing behind it and ask how we can make that happen. I think we've seen arts and culture is the one thing that our community can agree on. I mean, there's a lot going on right now, but arts and culture people believe in and they see the value in it. And I think just seeing the unanimous vote and being able to, to JD's point, see it happen a year ahead of what we thought might happen is a success story.
The Littleton Independent has been doing stories on things, on specific policies that pass. And so we could, I mean, I have a contact there, we could reach out about it.
yeah, I don't know how, like how would a press release type thing work? If we wanted to make a little, hey.
I think we just one up. Is what I would always do if it's coming out of the museum, what I always just send it over to Jessica and have her give it the blessing, but when that's done, we do press releases for all of our events here.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But
I just want to thank you, JD, because you have not let this drop. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to Tim and your staff, because you guys incredibly supported this. And this is a long time coming. This is 4 or 5 years of us talking about it and putting this together. So this is a huge congratulations just to the whole board.
And I would say too, big kudos to Jim and Mike. I mean, they have really championed this for us as well with council and supporting the board. So, and I really do want to just compliment the board. I mean, this, JD said, this is a year before I thought this was gonna happen.
he did point that.
He already
out
told
while
us.
you were on.
Yeah, I'm very impressed and I really admire the work that the board put into this.
I shared your skepticism with all of them.
I was cautiously optimistic. But this is a real team effort on the part of the board. Just kudos to all of you.
So, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Which is tonight. Anna, would you share the lodgers tax grant policy prep?
Yeah, JD, I haven't prepared anything to present for tonight, other
We-
than the
we got
proof
two
of the
things, right?
policy. Yeah.
So our conversation for the 2027 funding year for the lodging tax will take place in November. And we have a short time frame for that between our meeting in November. We really have to have it signed off and blessed by the city manager and our council certainly by the end of December.
We could go into January. We'll be cutting it close. We could go.
But the applications are typically released February 1st.
Mid-February through
Mid-February.
mid-April.
bit of a tight turnaround, to both solicit and incorporate feedback on the policy.
So in front of you tonight were the executive summary for the Littleton Arts and Culture Board 2026 Lodgers Tax funding recommendations, so this past year. As well as distribution of revenue from the lodging tax grant cycle. The two documents to look over. Any additions on those two things?
No, these are kind of your foundational documents for this, the policy doc, the 2025-2026 grant cycle. Well, this is the one we look at every year after we get through a grant cycle. So we have completed this, the awards for 2026. This is an opportunity for the board to take a dive into this, see if there are things that you would like to recommend changing, and those bring those back to us in November. If you have your thoughts gathered and can send those to us in advance and then to Anna in advance, we will put those together for the board and get them out to you ahead of the November meeting, so you have a little chance to do some study. And then the executive summary just gives you just a reminder of where the lodgers tax dollar went this cycle.
So our November meeting is on November 13th, and I would love to get any feedback by Friday, the previous Friday, November 7th. 11/7 will be the deadline for.
So, and on topic of putting your thoughts together, what Denise is kindly passing around for me are my thoughts.
This is
Oh, JD. Some of us have lives, JD.
JD's thoughts. What he thinks about at night.
Yeah.
Or goes to bed.
That's the executive summary. I'll bring it. So give that a read through. It's meant as a foundation and a framework, a pillar, if you will, of conversation. There are some relatively stretch thoughts in there, I'll put it that way, as far as changing some of the things we do or the way that we approach it. And I wanted to share these ideas with you in advance. So you'd have time to think about them, process them, and
Read through all of them?
read through all of it. If you do 1 page a day, it will only take you 20 minutes.
1 page.
But yes, please also use this as a way to collect your own thoughts and you know, we may make changes that are significant. We may not. We may just to continue to do what we've done for the last 3 years, which has made a tremendous impact throughout the city as it exists.
Homework.
It's a little bit of homework. Are there any questions about what's coming up in November and through the end of the year as we look at it? Really, it's just lodging tax policy, I think, is really that's on our plate.
I think we have economic development coming in November too, don't we?
In,
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, we pushed,
Yeah.
Rachel pushed it out to January. Yeah, sorry.
So January, we'll sort of have a state of the hotels, economic development.
Oh.
Yeah, so we can learn more about the hotels and some of the things the communications tipped off on tonight.
I just wanted to let you know that I would be submitting this to 3 different drug companies as a substitute for sleep aids.
Okay.
I was gonna ask the same question. I was like, do you even sleep? Oh, you wrote all this by hand. This was not AI
Use a
driving.
computer.
I know, but you're just sitting there just
Quill.
musing at night. just-
I prefer next time.
This is.
Scroll.
I'm glad you did this.
Not encouraging, please.
That is true.
It would be more artistic and theatrical.
I mean, page 3 gets to one of the things I was trying to look back at was what those percentages of each tier were and the totality. Because as I was telling Joni, like one of the, points of consternation in my brain has been spending $100,000 to get 125 to give away. No offense to the big 4 or to tier 4 or anything else, but like I'm looking at that and going, wow, that's, you kind of look at that cost, so to speak, to ultimately give to the organizations, and I know I'm ignoring tier 1 in that conversation, but.
So I believe that brings us to the end of our agenda. There's anything else? We talked about it last month. Don't forget the Arts and Culture Award will be coming up in December.
Yes.
So think about who who you might like to nominate, as well as invite others to nominate for that award. That's also on the short term. The last thing on our agenda then is the roundtable. Noah, you always sit there. You want to start?
No events or anything to add. I like the comment that you made where it's like, we're almost kind of like insulated a little bit. Where like everything else that's going on craziness, I have watched absolutely like some of the best behavior and the worst behavior in the last 30 days in this community. And I want everybody to really I think everybody in this room takes seriously what's gonna happen next month in terms of voting and all the number of things that are going on. But just, I'm really proud of this group. I always see even keel, even perspectives, and I'm just really proud of everybody in this room.
Thanks so much for everybody who came out to the craft fair. It was wonderful. Thank you very much. And Heritage, I'll do Tim's part. Heritage's play is The Trap.
Yeah.
And it's the 29th, 30th, and 31st.
Is it?
Yeah, they're playing it on Halloween.
Oh, but I thought it was,
So-
I thought
so
there was
it's-
one on the
So there is one on
first.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry about the dates wrong. Tim does better, you know,
My daughter did
Does better
painted all
job.
the sets.
so. So it's supposed to be scary. Don't talk about it. It's supposed to be really cool. So, you know, show up on Thursday. It'll be good.
Took my family to the Buddy performance. And after the performance, I ran into an old student who was in the cast.
Nice.
So,
That's so cool.
didn't notice it until he came to me and I was like, wait a minute. Because he was, of course, a sixth grader at the time when I was teaching him. So very interesting to reconnect with him. Enjoyed the calendar,
Oh, yeah.
reviewing the calendar visuals and
It was
pictures.
fun.
That was interesting. First time I've done that. So yeah, it was fun. That's it.
So, a couple of very exciting wins for ACC. We finally were allowed to get our own Instagram site. So please follow us on Art Design ACC as soon as possible. And we've already, like, our marketing department at the college was like, oh. We're like, yeah, you've been telling us that we couldn't do this for 10 years and now we're already doing better than you are. So it is like unbelievable, like,
That's why they
duh,
said no.
like, come on, we have the content. So Art Design ACC, so we'll be posting, yep, that's it. We'll be posting all of our events and stuff on there, but we also been posting some of our public events on the Visit Littleton website. So that we have one coming up for the Day of the Dead. On October 28th, we're having Aztec dancers come and they're doing this huge performance on the main campus summit room. And then they're gonna do a procession over to Art and Design. And they're gonna do performance in front of Art and Design. And they're actually gonna go in and then there's gonna be a gallery reception of art that they've created with the students in the Jansen Gallery. So that should be on the Littleton, Visit Littleton website, but you'll see it on this as well. And that's gonna be during the day, so October 28th from like 12 to 1:30 at the Art and Design Center. And then we're also hosting public workshops for art therapy. We have an Art for Everyone lecture series that we're doing in the main library. And we're bringing in artists who experienced some sort of trauma and how art was sort of a therapeutic process, because we're gonna be launching an art therapy program. So, yeah,
Nice.
Very cool.
it's very exciting. I don't have any.
What time is the event for the?
The Day of the Dead event, the dance on the main campus is gonna start around 11, and then they're gonna do the procession from 12 to 12:30 over to Art and Design. And then the reception's at 1 in the gallery. The dance hall.
Well, I got to pick photos for the calendar with others, and although we were given less birds than we wanted, we tried.
We almost had all the animals.
Still animal themed.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we had a great time.
It was really fun.
And then I got to go to the Town Hall Art Center architect reveal, which was very exciting. I'm very excited about that project and the future of Town Hall Art Center. It's gonna be really exciting. And then The city of Littleton proclaimed the celebration of LGBTQ History Month on Tuesday, which was an exciting moment for the LGBTQ community here in Littleton. And we get to celebrate it on Saturday at Big Pride Littleton downtown. So
Awesome. Yay.
come on out. Denise is going to give some remarks before one of our performances around.
It's on Saturday, what time?
11 to 4.
And it blocks off a portion of downtown too.
We are blocking
It's
off
great.
the part of Main Street, yeah. Did I tell you 3? Yeah, Denise will
That's
be
still
giving remarks at 3.
Denise is at 3.
Oh, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Is it worth?
And on Main.
Too.
But just to honor
Yeah.
the contribution from this board and the lodger's tax grant, so. Which your idea is great for the like kit, because I just put a City of Littleton logo on my website and put Arts and Culture Board underneath it. And
Yeah.
That works.
How many photos did you get for the photo contest?
It's like 140.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't as many.
We had like 170 or something.
Yeah, there
last
there
year.
weren't as many this year.
I think it was around 140.
We
That's
had,
because there's no light to take a picture.
Oh, there was still some late.
That stung.
there were like 5 photos of winter, which was really frustrating.
Yeah.
So if you take any winter photos, please submit them to the.
Longer Tables was hugely successful. Over 3,500 people attended. For those that went, it was just a really fun time. Definitely lessons learned. Our grant recipient, the Littleton Youth Ballet, showed up in full tutus. We had 14. And they did an amazing job of doing those chains. I felt that I like lost them. At one point I said, please don't get kidnapped. And then they proceeded to show me how they would kick somebody who tried to kidnap them. So I do not worry about our youth. Then compliments of ACC, who also participates in the Littleton Symphony. We had an amazing brass band that was down towards the melting pot. And they were so good and just on top of it. And then we had an artist that did what's called a visual recording. And it was up at City Council Chambers on Tuesday night, along with the things that we did an honorarium for, the Lift Up Littleton did. But she did an amazing job of just an artistic view of the tables, and it was a 4x8 foot poster, if you will. So just great stuff, a great event. I had initially been told that it was a one and done. However, it was so successful that they're hoping that they can bring it back. And we'll make it even bigger and brighter. And but it was exciting to really have a representation of arts and culture there.
How many people they went to that?
3,500.
Wow.
What they thought. Denise, you were there. So it did start from Mega Park all the way down.
There, I just didn't know how many. people
Yeah.
went.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
kind
I
of
didn't-
petered out by Bradford Auto, like a lot of empty tables, probably half a block's worth. But to say that we filled, 4.5 blocks.
Well, there were sections near the other end where they had multiple seatings. There's another group who sat down, left, and then those seats got filled by other people.
So
Well,
again,
because-
lessons learned, right, that we could better spread that out, and there was food here and there wasn't food there, and then.
I mean, down at the other side by Mega Park, which is where I was, I didn't know that there was a band or an artist. I couldn't hear any of the announcements. I had no idea.
So
what
were
was
you by
going
Mega
on.
Park? The
I was
artist
in
was
front
right
of St.
there.
Calais. I had no
Artist-
idea that any of this was happening.
It seemed like the artist stuff was like concentrated like on Prince or south of Prince when we must have been within.
Yeah, I was
Shouting
close to
distance of each
Denise
other.
too.
So she was right by Ned Kelly's. So she was right there at the end, up on a stage. And that, again, a lesson learned, right?
That's just.
That we really
feedback.
need to inform
We could
people.
hear that somebody was speaking and giving announcements, but we had no idea what they were saying. And I didn't know there was a band until like last week. I saw a post, I was like, there was a band.
They're really good too. So, and then I think the ballet has some events coming up, correct? And then JD, I think you're gonna talk about a Christmas Carol, right? Yeah, so there's stuff happening, but we have a lot to be grateful for. And we're really, the arts are really showing up in Littleton.
I want to let everyone know too that there's a mural going up next week at ACC.
Yay.
Very excited about it. It's on that big L-shaped exterior wall that sort of faces Santa Fe. It's very close to the main building.
The only wall that is not part of the building.
Yeah, it's a free standalone kind of retaining wall.
Cause you're not allowed to put it on the building.
The
Yeah.
brutalist architecture.
Yes, the brutalist architecture.
Keep it.
There was
Hannah, I just wanted to thank you.
Facilities
Did
to
you
get
you
over.
gifted that to ACC?
Thank
you.
You're very welcome.
It was
I'm
quite
excited
a point
to
of,
see it.
like,
Yeah.
the president, you know, it was
Yeah.
a stretch for them, but they got
Yeah.
through it.
Nope, they got there and I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be really beautiful. So,
They got
yeah, a local artist.
What
too,
is
which
this?
great.
Do you know what the?
It's an artist, her name is Shania Sissel, and she is a muralist, also an early education childhood teacher at the Village. So she's born and raised in Littleton, and she is also a very talented muralist on the side, and it's a cool, large scale image of a tree with hands for roots. Yeah.
Are there any updates on the Boost e-bikes? Remember, I heard that it was canceled because of
Got
it, they're
sold.
selling the building.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
update, you heard
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. We got pretty far down the line with that, only to find out that the tenant had never actually received any
Oh,
kind
no.
of okay from the building owner.
Oh my God.
And it was getting sold, the whole building, so they were in escrow, which packed, so. Yeah, but I think this is a great alternative and I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, a lot of people be able to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really visible too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
It
good.
was a
You're
really
gonna see
good
it.
pivot.
You're gonna
Hannah
see it from.
had gotten a long way down the road with those guys, but she immediately reversed course and ACC is a great recipient. So yeah, it's a good use of mural
So grateful.
program funds.
Well, so I will do a plug for Voices West this Friday night, tomorrow night, and Sunday are performing Mass of the Children with the Denver Children's Choir, which is supposed to be a spectacular performance and piece of music. So I will likely be seeing them. My kids are having a sleepover tomorrow night, so I'm really trying for tomorrow night, but I will probably see them on Sunday if you care to join me. The Littleton Symphony is coming up, I think, on October 24th with their season opener. My favorite thing of the entire year to date is to see Kate walking through downtown Littleton with 14 ballerinas just following. I think,
The Pied Piper.
I think.
There's the Pied Piper,
Yeah.
the ballerinas.
If you could swing that always, I think it would be amazing. If only we had gotten her a tiara, it would have been perfect.
I have one.
She always has an entourage. It's just this time it's gonna be.
It worked out so well. It worked out so organically well. And the ballerinas would just stop at different tables. I don't know if she stopped at you guys' tables. But they would engage, they would talk, and then they would have the people do their links. They just did a great job.
And then, thank you for those who were able to come to the Town Hall Arts Center architectural reveal. If you didn't and you want to see the new architecture, I brought it tonight so you can flip through the designs and drawings to see what's on the docket for that building. Thank you. And then I will plug this again at our November meeting, but I am facilitating a collaboration production between the Littleton Youth Ballet. I think the ballet is a theme for tonight. The Littleton Youth Ballet and the Littleton Symphony Orchestra. We are doing a 45-minute presentation retelling of Charles Dickens' The Nutcracker. We're gonna do it once at East Community Center in a full Spanish language production. And then we'll do it 4 hours later at Arapahoe Community College for an English language production. So one big day, we're traveling throughout the city. And I think it's hopefully, it may become an annual tradition, but this is the first year and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for that.
Are you gonna be in the Waring Theater?
Yes.
Awesome.
Some more ballet news. Littleton Ballet is in rehearsal for the Nutcracker, so I will wait until next month to bring postcards. But they have the Sugar Plum Fairy Tea coming up, Noah. Your daughter was there last time.
I'll
On
go with
November
Wednesday.
9th, there's two seatings. It's a Sunday at 11:30 and 1, I believe. Tickets are on sale and they are halfway to being sold out already. It sells out every year. It's really cool if you've never been. The Sugar Plum Fairy shows up. There's a storytelling, there's dancing, and it's not just for kids. We have a little group of, I'm trying to think, just some very delightful ladies of a certain age that come every year in hats and they get all dressed up. And they take one end of the table and they come and watch the Sugar Plum Fairy dance. And so it's not just for little kids, it's for anybody. I think tickets are like $19.50. You get food, you get tea, and you get entertainment. So that's it.
And if there's nothing else, we will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.